Hello, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in, and hello and good morning to everybody. Here we are in the Tiger 2. I got a two-pack for you today. King Tiger, the Tiger 2, the iconic German, not quite a super heavy, I suppose, but bordering on that. A tank that actually fought in World War II, which is a little bit unusual at tier 8, 9, and 10 to see a tank like that. Some of those are tanks that existed on the interwar period, but this is really one of the biggest, most powerful tanks that actually fought in World War II. Not just designed and showed up at the end, things like that. So, very cool tank. Has been in the game from the very beginning, just about. I think it has actually been in the game from the very beginning. It's gone through a number of changes. In the fairly recent past, got a pretty good buff to, I believe, the gun and the turret at the very least. And it has a bad rep in the game. Largely because I think people go to the German line, they go, ooh, Tiger 2, I'm going to dominate. They're brand new, they don't really understand the game. The fact that, of course, it's at tier 8 with other tier 8s that are competitive and yada yada. It was probably fairly weak in the past, but I'll tell you what, it's a pretty fun box tank at this point. So I got a two-pack for you that's appropriate for a Tiger 2. First one is this tier 10 battle I'm in. Kind of interesting, there's only 3 10s and 3 9s and the rest are 8. So we'll just go ahead and get going. I'm also in colorblind mode here for you guys. I know I've been promising and promising. I finally remembered on this, so we'll knock that out. You can see that the cap and the enemy markers are all going to be purple. So hopefully that helps you guys out and doesn't irritate the folks who can see color. Am I insulting one group or the other? I don't know today. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not. Am I a colorist? I don't know. All right, let's keep politics out of it. But you know, it's a joke. It's just a little joke. Tiger 2. We're on Tundra. That is what it's called. Spawned into the south. I'm going to head over here to the west side, and I wanted to go check it out. Now this is my EU account, so you can see the ping's a little high. I'm fighting that a little bit. A little bit of packet loss. Blah blah. Wah wah for me. All that stuff. That's my excuse for why I didn't do better than I did. We're going to come over here, and I wanted to see what this tank can do heavy-wise. I was going to title this one Bold and Beautiful, because sometimes playing in a bold manner can really pay off. Sometimes it gets you 4 to be dead, okay? Whatever. Let's show you the one where it worked, and then act like this is how it always goes. Alright, so we'll come up here. We got a 30B and an E75, which is kind of the, not kind of, but is the Tiger 2's larger cousin at tier 9. Really fights very similar, if not exactly the same at tier. It has even better armor. So we're going to come in here. We see this ISU 152K, which is the premium version of the ISU. It's got the BL10 on it. He gets thumped by the E75. Now the E75 has done yeoman's work. He has kept them busy. They're all shooting at him, doing a large amount of bouncing. The ISU drops back, has nearly no hit points. I'm going to take this opportunity to just push in on the ISM. I may get hit. I did. And then we can just push in and bully the snot out of this poor person. Just come in here and use this Tiger's armor. We'll get a little auto man. Thump him as we go. A nice high roll at 411. So the alpha, I believe, has been increased on this recently. It's at 360 now, which is really nice. I want to say it was 320 at one point, 340, something like that. Maybe I'm lying, but in any event, it is 360 right now. That is a fact. So that bold move has pushed in, and we've kind of taken this corner. Let's just discuss that for a minute, because if you've watched any of my other recent videos, I talk a lot about the hill being the important area, and it absolutely is. But if you're going to fight over here, do something with it if you can. A lot of times there's just too much power and you can't push like I did, but they didn't really bring enough. Right? They brought the ISM, they brought the Pershing, they had the ISU, but he got thumped pretty hard. None of the other TDs made their presence known while we were there, so we were able to just push in. And this is a case of just reading the battle, what's going on, and make a bold determination from there. Had it gone poorly, I may have had to either sat there and try to hold that area, or maybe flex back to the other side. But as it is, we're able to take this guy. The 430B gets thumped by multiple TDs. I think the Sturv either reacted or was hanging out in the middle the whole time, but now he's an issue. So this is the problem. Now we're kind of stuffed here, and I'm actually unable to move out of this spot. And things are going a little bit poorly at this point, 4 to 4. We do have a lot of guys back in the back, but they're all kind of TDs. Looks like a medium is moving around back there. So we're going to just try to start taking shots of opportunity. The FV reacts to the prototype, and we start farming him a bit. He's not really going to bounce very much, especially from the pen of a heavy tank. really almost nothing is going to bounce off him. He's just getting quickly thumped. His reload is so long. Him in a brawl is just not a great place for him to be. But there's the Sturb, the Bros, the Sioux. Ooh, this is not looking so great, but we got 2,209 and a couple kills. And we'll just keep reacting to what's going on. Get the G-Sword thumped. Really good to get rid of that guy if we can. He's very dangerous, and even 1 hit point, as long as he's able to keep shooting that gun, very dangerous tank. Their Conqueror died on the hill, and then we got the hill. So now things are looking a little bit better, starting to shift to our favor. I'm just going to hold this spot. I've got 4 tanks over here. What I'm really hoping does not happen is they all push me at once. Going to be a little difficult with the Sturf, but of course the Sioux and the Barask and the G-Sword could be a problem. I see the 14-5 coming in. He's going to start getting lights, keeping them busy. Unfortunately, he dies, but I'm able to thump the G-Sword, and then the Barask makes his presence known. I have just fired, so he's going to come in and try to get his 2 shots into me. Good news, 1308 on the hit points. I am carrying the hardening on this tank. Gives me a few extra hit points to work with. Takes a little bit to turn the hull. Notice I'm turning the hull and the turret to get my shots on this guy, get thumped by the ISU, but I am going to be able to back up here. Now, that was fine, but unfortunately now I'm at 1 shot to everybody. I get stunned. That sucked. I fix it because I see the Sioux coming in. Right? He goes, ooh, the guy's on a reload, been stunned. Here he comes. I fix that so I can get my reload sorted out. And we'll just kill him with, while he's making a bit of a dangerous poke. And all of a sudden we're 11 and 7. I'm at 3,047 damage. Barasco is running off that way. Finds the Grillet and the Sturv. I don't think I get any more hit points here. I'm going to cross back over this way. No. Come up over here. The Bras dies. We're looking for the Scorpion G and the Arty. Just not fast enough to get the Arty. This is the problem with a heavy tank at the end of a battle. When it's clean up on aisle 2, you have a hard time getting to other sides of the map and grabbing any more hit points. On most heavy, slow heavy tanks like this, you're going to get all your hit points in the brawl. Or if your team is a little bit meek and indecisive, you may be able to push in and get the hit points as well. But I'm sitting at 84, so even so, I'd have to be a little bit careful. And then the Scorpion G dies. So we actually don't bounce any, despite me talking about the great armor on this thing. Everything that hit pinned, but I did get shot with a lot of gold right there. So even though the vaunted armor on the Tiger II is decent at tier, you start throwing a lot of 2 at it, and side shots, 2, that kind of stuff. They don't have a lot of trouble. We end up with 4 kills, 3,047 damage, 519 assist, and a victory on Tundra. A little bold and beautiful, the big cat Tiger II. I just like the German tanks. Well, I like the guns as well, but I just like the German tanks. Let's take another look at a 2-pack. Like I said, we'll take a second look at one that wasn't a high damage game, but a lot more bouncing. All right, number 2 on Ensk spawned into the north on an encounter battle. Generally, the important terrain on this one is out in the field. Win that, then you can flex into town. But you're going to see that not all teams are going to do that. In fact, a lot of teams are going to run into town and get near the cap. As a general rule, on a lot of the encounter maps, that's a pretty good idea. On this one, you don't really need to. It's really easy to get back over and decap. So we'll see how much help I get here in the field, which is not a whole bunch. And we're going to start working in here. You know, one thing about the Tiger II, now this is, I don't think this is the historical gun, but even if you look at the historical pictures, when you get to the late war, World War II, you start to see tanks with these kind of big old guns. It's funny if you compare and contrast them to the early war tanks sitting with 57 and 75 millimeter guns. A lot of times it looks like a little pew-pew cannon coming off of the turret right there, but as you get later in the war, you really start to see the larger and larger guns get mounted on these bigger tanks. T-30's down there. I really don't want to let him just thump me. I'm going to try to get a little shot on him. There we go, 330. So we'll get a nice little roll on that guy. The IS-32 is here. So we just pause it real quick. It's me, the IS-32, the Mod 1, the ISU, the Barask, and there's a Conway back here. So not a bad force, but certainly not one that's going to be able to push down on the track side, on the field side, and dominate this side. So we're really more in a defensive crouch until we really find out what the enemy is doing. So I'm going to try to sneak in here and see if I can't get a shot on some of these guys. A little bit dangerous because I'm sticking my rear end out there. So we can just shoot that guy. Nope, nothing. This is while I was not carrying any gold still. T-30 has shifted over. If you notice from there, he's not looking down the long pathway there. He's looking down the short. Brosco's YOLOing in, so we're going to try to get a shot on any of these guys that are trying to fight him. That's a miss. Now the 4502 Bravo is coming in. So he's another of the tier 9s and got some really good frontal armor. I'm going to have all kinds of trouble doing anything to him frontally. So these guys are raging around. I get hit by the T-54. Darn it. Now he's back there, but that's a track. I don't actually get the credit for a bounce, but he critted the track, it looks like. So I don't take any damage off his heat shot. That's the danger of heat, guys. Highly angled tanks or hitting into tracks with heat, you're going to get that kind of thing. There's finally a hit on the 4400, but pretty good turret. And I'm going to have a bit of a hard time pinning the turret. Oh, the T-54 has made an appearance. Bit of a mistake on his part. 3 tanks sitting right here. Looked like he wanted to... Yeah, that was a bad shot on my part. I knew I was going to eat the heat. I just sort of rushed the shot, but once he's fired, the convoy's looking for his 2 cents. Gets it. Put another shot into him. Try to keep that angle going on, and I'm thinking, well, let's try to finish this guy off. Maybe I can force him to take a bad shot on me. Or he's still moving. Ah, and I bounce off his armor. Either on the turret, on the upper plate. Now the IS-32 is mad at the convoy. And we're losing a little bit, right? We've lost a couple tanks. Got a lot of guys down in the city. I'm having a hard time hitting these guys. Ping's up there at 170, 180. Just really not used to at this point. I'm getting better with it, but not really used to that ping and fighting through it. Conway does a nice shot, gets rid of one of those 2 dudes. And now we're trying to find the last one who's on low hit points. And we're down to the 3 of us, just the 3 of us in the ISU back there behind us. So we're all kind of pinned down behind these buildings right here. But it doesn't look like we're facing too much, although there are a lot of tanks that have not really shown up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in town at least. There's 3 over here, that's 8, 2 dead, 10. There's 5 tanks unaccounted for. We haven't done a whole bunch, but we're just kind of holding this spot while the city holds their spot for a second. We really can't push in. We're just trying to whittle them down and figure out where are all of these guys. There's this dude. Man, I take another hit, and that's a bummer. So that eats 320. I'm going to go ahead and fix that because I do not want him to get a second shot. He's got a 5-second between shot. Call it a reload, but it's not. It's just before the other barrel is ready to shoot. I was looking maybe for an opportunity to move up, but look at this. We got a 44. There's an IS-22 now. There's a T-30. He can hit hard. He's got a lot of hit points. This guy makes a bit of a foolish move. And I'm actually going to fall back behind this building. I thought about it anyway, but now this dude's pushing up. There's a little bounce. The IS-32, the IS-22 has, I believe, double 100mm guns on it, so it doesn't carry the double 122s with the 390 Alpha. So it doesn't actually hit that hard, but it does have 2 barrels, so 600 is really nothing to scoff at. So I'm going to fall back here. The reason for this is so we're not both on this corner and we can kind of get enveloped and double tapped. I'm going to try to sit back here and support him by being able to pop out and make it not so easy for them to come around the 2 of us. And then all of a sudden I see this guy coming in. That is not good. That is not good. And I get a bounce off of him. Then I see the T-54. And at this point, we're doing okay. I look at the city and said, city looks all right. Looks like they're starting to make a bit of a move. We have a slight advantage at 6-5. But really, we're hurting right here. So what these 3 tanks have to do is hold on. I'd love to run away, but I'm not going to be able to get away. There's just too many tanks here, too many different shots down all these little sniper holes. So we're just going to hold on and see what we can do. Yep, take another hit from the IS-22. That was a bummer. We're going to see if we can put one into him. A little bounce, not quite. I'm able to bounce that. The IS-32 is doing a decent job, but then he takes that big hit. And that was a huge mistake on my part right there, backing out of there. In fact, to tell you the truth, I don't really know what I was looking at. And now we're really hurting, right? I've got 1,000 bounce, 918 done, and this looks like the end, doesn't it, folks? There's me, this ISU-152, and a near-dead IS-3. I just have to get rid of somebody if I can. He's not really paying attention, so down he goes. The IS-32 dies, and it's looking like the end, doesn't it? And all of a sudden, we get a little bit of cavalry coming in. The 40T makes a bit of a bold move coming on in here. We get the 54 down. The ISU takes him down. Now it's a bit evened up. It's 8 and 6. Just being careful here, trying to figure out how I'm going to find one of these guys and hurt him. T-30 starts coming in. I try to hit and track. Let's just try to keep it angled. Holy cow. Forced him into a bad shot. He eats my shot. He eats the ISU shot. I don't even know. He may have been taking a shot from the Lorraine, and we get rid of the T-30, and that was huge. But I am a one-shot to this VK4502. And if you look at the minimap, this is basically all there is, except for the RHMB. He's a wild card. I don't know where he is. Last seen way down there in the southeast. The ISU is the one that's keeping this dude honest. I'm a little bit worried. There we go. That's sort of what I was worried about. And then all of a sudden the Baraska's back up here. So now he's causing issues. Here comes the 4502. He's not too interested in coming out. His problem is going to be that the ISU has shots on him, but then the Baraska kind of sneaks by. I'm just trying to get a shot on this guy if I can, and I do. I time it through there. I know I'm not going to get a highlight because the fence was there. I just wait for him to get into that position. I take that shot. Have to be careful about backing out too much. So this is the problem. Really, had the 4502 pushed in while that Barask had us busy, probably would have been able to get rid of me. But he goes a bit passive. I think the Barask was actually trying to relieve some of the pressure for that guy, and he did not take advantage. City guys are doing great, and then here comes the ISU pushing in. He's got hit points. Lorraine pushes in. I get a little bit of a bounce. Had to rush that. I wanted to go for the lower plate. I have a chance to pin the lower plate. Just I saw the 40T coming by, and I figured he'd be at this guy on a reload in a bit. We're just going to go ahead and let these guys take him down. There we go. Easy peasy, my friends. Easy peasy. Sometimes you just have to be slow and steady, and a tank like this can really hold things like that. Not an amazing game, but we have a 3,500 combined in damage and bouncing. Not that important, but 2,500 or so combined. Damage and assist. 1,840 bounce. That's like carrying an extra Tiger 2 hole with you for a replacement. So basically taking about twice the damage you can take, because I've almost lost all my hit points on my 1760. We take out the last guy, and it ends up being a win. I really like the Tigers, man. The Tiger 2 really is a fun tank. I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. It has to be played right, you know, get the right angles, all that kind of thing. But it can take a hit, it can dish out damage, decently mobile, just a lot of fun. There's a lot of ways to win. Really, in this game, there's a lot of ways to win with everything. But even with this this relatively slow heavy tank, there's lots of ways to win there. All right, I hope you like that. Oh, good, it stayed on. I just was thinking if it stayed on colorblind mode, or I had to change it every time, but I already put it in the settings, so they're both colorblind mode. There you go. Let me know what you think about that. Like it, hate it, whatever. That's all I've got. Get out there, drive those Tiger 2s, man. Let's make Tiger 2s. No, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, see you guys.